Hello everyone, welcome to the Festival of Silly Hats. It's Royal Ascot days 4 and 5 preview on the Matchbook Horse Racing podcast. I'm not going to keep this on all day. If you're listening on the podcast, I've got a tall 1920s German top hat on and I'm taking it off. I do like dressing up, as does Micheál, Deasy and Charlie Poste, who are with us to preview the final couple of days of Royal Ascot. It's been a good start, a tough start so far. Lots of big prices going in. Deasy hit the crossbar with a massive price on day one. Hopefully we're going to find you some big price winners over the final couple of days. A reminder to like and subscribe. It's the best no-cost way of supporting this podcast. Let us know your naps on the comments. We're going to get stuck straight in. And I apologise, it's only going to be me talking for the next minute or so because the 2:30 is the Albany Stakes, Royal Ascot Day 4. And the only person putting one up is me, Nadel Sheba Snow, 101.0, who ran a good race at Beverley last time behind Moorlam. Moorlam finished second, could potentially have won with a better run. She then franked the form by running a really good race in the Queen Mary. And now that El Sheba Snow shaped as though she wanted to step up in distance. She wants quick ground. She's not the most likely winner by any stretch, but she's a massive price. And she should improve for the step up in distance. 101.0 I thought was well worth taking a little bit of, maybe a little bit more in the place market as well. Maybe 75% in the place for Nad El Sheba Snow. 101.0, hopefully kick us off with a big price winner or a place. Into the Commonwealth Cup, where the other two have some bets, so that's good news. The 305 at Ascot Commonwealth Cup. Charlie and I agree with elite status Charlie Poste.
Yeah, hi Tom. Yeah, as in he always promised to get better from 2 to 3. Real big slab of a horse, and I thought he was very, very good at Newbury. You know, as in he was a really authoritative performance from beating Relief Rally. The horse whose name escapes me, Rob Millman's A Day in Devon. He beat well in third, who, of course, Inisherin, I think, had ties in with as well, but beat him further than that horse did. I just think the prices are wrong, personally, for me. And I really like elite status. I think 4.5, I think is a really, really good bet in the second race of day 4. Yeah.
I was going to sit it out, and then the more I came back to elite status, like that performance at Sandown last year, I know it didn't quite work out here, but like I think he's fairly exceptional. He looked it last time. I don't think he'd be too far back, but it's not, you know, it's sort of favoured speed to an extent so far on the straight course, or more than it normally does. I think he's a good bet, 4.5. The other one I was tempted with is Deasy. So there you go, Deasy.
Yeah, I'm going for Jassor. He won the trial here at Ascot, start of May. Just thought he was really good that day. I thought this is kind of an obvious choice from this season. He's definitely trained on. Clive Cox is a great man with these sprinters, so I'm going to have him at about 6.0.
Okay, that's us done with the Commonwealth Cup. We move on to the 345, which is the Coronation Stakes. Charlie, I'll come straight back at you. You're looking at the Guineas form.
Yeah, very much. I mean, look, first and foremost, it's a cracking race. This, you know, there's loads of depth in it. I like Tel Malka for the 1,000 guineas, and I think she's a player here as well. Opera Singer, I was nearly tempted to take on, but I'm not that brave. But I just came down with Porta Fortuna, winning place at 8.0. You know, she was a very good winner of the Shebley Park last year. Then there was an excellent second on quick ground, the Juvenile Fillies Turf at the Breeders' Cup. A return at Newmarket was a really decent one, where she almost got mugged a little bit by El Malka. I think Tom Marquand probably thought he had the race sewn up, and I just felt that she was the value in the race, because I think the Crackle Suitor, I think the quick ground is very much in her favour, and at 8.0, I just liked having the place option running for you as well in a race, like I say, where there's plenty of depth, Tom.
Yeah, I've sort of had my head completely turned by Opera Singer. I'm a massive fan of hers. She was said to have missed a little bit of work in the spring, or just a little. She missed a bit of time in the spring, and I got the impression that with her, they were always on the back foot a little bit. The other thing is, a few of Aidan's 3-year-olds have taken a step forward for their first starts. We saw that yesterday with Henry Longfellow. Obviously, we saw it with the Derby winner. Maybe I'm just sort of clutching at straws a bit, but I feel like that's been the case. And if she takes a step forward, I'm not sure she'll be beaten. Micheál, I guess is what I was tempted by, because she probably should have won the Guineas, and she got a little bit tired late on. Maybe the round course will suit her a bit better, but I don't know, Deasy. I think Opera Singer's standard.
Yeah, and like the they gave her time to get ready for this, and it's happened the last few years as well that horses that haven't run well in the Guineas for Aidan O'Brien. He hasn't a great record in the classics, the early classics, the last few years, but they come on well for Ascot. And he said as much before the Guineas that he wasn't happy with her. Just given the regular amount of improvement that some of his horses are showing to their second run, she should. I'd say she could be a step above some of these.
At 2.5, Porta Fortuna win and place 8.0 for Charlie Poste. Big prices in the Duke of Edinburgh Stakes over 1.5 miles. Mine's a silly one. Mahabar the champ, 67.0, outsider of the bunch. He has to have quick ground. He's not got a great wind, I'm afraid. And if there's any dig in the ground, it finds him out. I guess that could be a concern coming in here. But I feel like he's priced up on account of a couple of disappointing efforts on easy ground. Quick ground, he's a different horse. He's probably a different horse at York as well. But there's no way off his mark he should be outsider of this bunch at 67.0. So backing him win and place. Charlie and Deasy agree with Safe Cracker, Deasy, and you've got another one?
Yeah, look, Safe Cracker, it's a price thing as well, but he finished 5th behind Crystal Back and Deacon on FA Cup final day, actually. And Johnny Murtaugh's horses were absolutely flying at that time, and it looked very much like he was just given a nice run out, to be honest, with a bigger target in mind. And so sticking with him. And Deacon as well, say he finished 2nd in that race. He was just beaten on the line by Crystal Black. Looked a bit like he got to the front too soon. Could be a bit more progressive. And again, he's about 8.0, so I'll probably dodge the two of them.
Charlie.
Yeah, Safe Cracker as well for me. Is that the FA Cup final that your team shouldn't have even been playing in Dees? Yeah, that's
Why even sad he's even
won.
Yeah, I cannot believe you've chopped that in there.
It's pathetic, actually. Yeah. Pathetic you mentioned that.
We all got a tip for Crystal Black that day, and he won. That's how I remember it. So
disgusting, mate. As in, especially with me on here as well as a Coventry City fan, I'm outraged you chopped that in there. But anyway, that just shows the measure of the man. So yeah, Safe Cracker for me. As in, he got stopped in his run the last day at the Curragh as well. I think the step up to 12 furlongs is back in his favour. And look, he does need a bit of luck in running, and he does often seem to find trouble. But he's drawn 11, which isn't a bad thing round the round course over 1.5 miles at Ascot. And I think if he gets the splits at the right moment, he's off a mark 101 that he can win a big pot like this. And for all that he's maybe a bit more exposed as a 6-year-old than the normal winners are of this race. But yeah, him I thought he was too big, 15.0 win and place.
Couple of shouts for Safe Cracker. Moving on to the Sandringham Stakes, nothing for me, too tricky. Big price for you, Charlie, 26.0.
Yeah, Soprano, George Bowie, they're really flying along now. Win and place. The stringer zinging. She was a talented 2-year-old. She was placed in Group 3. She ran okay in a Sheveley Park. 2 runs this time round. She was way too keen at Chelmsford over 6 on her first start back, and then I thought there were signs of improvement at Musselburgh. She was 3rd when dropped right out. She made some late headway. Was never probably close enough to challenge on that sort of sharp track. She is headstrong, and therefore the worry maybe is this sort of pressure cooker in environment might not be for her. But I thought the big plus was a huge field, pace to aim at, and I think she's got enough latent talent to take a race like this out. And at 26.0, if she does just drop ahead and is ridden to finish, I could see her really finishing off very well. And like I say, she's got enough talent to win this if it goes right for her.
Yeah, I will follow you in. I like that. I think this could be the exact setup she wants. Dees.
Yeah, I like Gordon Elliott's horse, Zainab. She arrives here on the back of 2 wins. She kind of caught my eye. She beat a horse called Igor Stravinsky for Aidan O'Brien that was well back, and then won the following day, or the next time out. Then again at the Curragh, that was in heavy ground. She went up to a mile at the Curragh again and won a Phillies handicap. Again, she's just getting there at the line. A nice Ascot type horse will be arriving late. She's 10.0. I think there's still a bit of juice to market and Declan McDonough is a brilliant jockey, so I think there's a lot in her favour.
Mustard. King Edward is it the 7th or the 8th? Can't remember. It's one or the other.
7th.
Yeah,
Number 7.
It is. We've put too many in there. We've put 3 in. But there we are. We've given it. We've found another Edward. Well, do you two take it away first? Diego Vasquez, speak first. Whoever's keenest.
Yeah, I'm keen. Yeah. Like he was a really good 2-year-old, and he obviously got upset in the stalls and the Furity at Donny, then came back, and I think probably like a lot of Aidan O'Brien's, was maybe a little bit short, but ran a really good race behind Metropolitan in the French Guineas. That horse backed up the level of that form. The St James Palace ran well there, and then was strongly fancied for the French Derby when he didn't really fire, for all that he didn't end up beat that far. You could chalk it down to an ordinary draw, but it was still lackluster. But we often see with this yard, the horses bounce back from bad runs and turn it round beyond what you can really think is possible. And I also just wonder if he just wants much better ground. That the heavy ground that Shanti the last day, he won on good ground as a 2-year-old, and maybe he wants a quick surface, and this track might suit him ideally. I thought 5.0 was a decent price, about a horse that could just be a cut above, for all that you've got to forgive him his last run.
What do you want to add, Dees?
Nothing really. I think that they're probably expecting bigger things of him this year, and especially with his entries, I think that he's down a good bit in grade. I think they've found a nice position for him, and I'd say he could go off a lot shorter. So he's a nice value bet at that.
So that's my angle into the race. Is I'm a fan of Space Legend. Sort of history puts me with him. I liked him when he won at Leicester, although it was on much more testing ground. But I think he'll be fine on this. He caught my eye when he was second to Bold Style back in December. And then I just think he'll go off bigger. I think there'll be weight behind the O'Brien horses and more as the week develops. That often tends to happen. I think there'll be a good bit between them in the market. I guess if I wanted to have a bet now, I feel like Diego Velasquez should be favourite. I think come race time, Space Legend could easily be 6.0 or bigger. And William Haggis won this a few years ago, and he's exactly the right profile for the race, I thought. So I think the market will shift a little. 6.15, the Palace of Holyrood. I'll kick off with a massive price. I'm on the sleeve for Kevin Ryan. He's 51.0. This is the sort of setup he wants. He's a good juvenile, but a strong pace, over 5, stiff track. I think he's still a bit, potentially a little bit better than his mark. Maybe he was just a 2-year-old, but I think there's still a little bit of room with the mark he's off, and he should have the race set up to suit. Charlie.
Mukafa for me. He won his second start as a 2-year-old. Sorry, not as a 2. Yeah, as a 2-year-old. And then he came back at Kempton, and they tried to sort of restrain him a little bit more. He was too keen. He didn't really settle. But then at Donny the last day, they put a hood on and just let him roll again. And I thought he was seriously impressive. I was slightly tempered by the fact that he's obviously gone up 8. But the more I watched the race, the more I just thought there's heaps more to come. I thought the drop back to 5 on a stiff track would be no bad thing. He looks like a horse with bundles of natural pace. As you've said yourself, being up there and showing early speed has not been a bad thing on the straight track at all this week. And at 15.0, he's by Blue Point, that again is carrying all before him. Again, the whole thing about whether they're train on or not, I think has now been, we've gone way beyond that. They've shown they definitely can train on. And I just thought he was really interesting. 15.0 win and place for me.
DC, who'd you like?
Another big price one, Thunder Blue for his first start for Jamie Osborne. He was with he was an MO horse last year with Dominic French Davis, finished 5th in Norfolk behind Valiant Force. Was tried at the highest level. All the rest he ran in were kind of Group 2 listed, that kind of stuff. Faded out towards the end of the season. He had 2 runs over in Maiden at the start of the year. He's changed trainer now. I just think that if he can be freshened up a small bit, I think Jamie Osborne, Safi Osborne are a serious combination at Ascot in these kind of races. He's off a mark of 90. He could be a lot better than that. And again, he's 67.0. You'll be getting 6 and 7, maybe 8 places on Matchbook on this race. So take all the places, and hopefully he'll be arriving late and picking up the pieces.
Try and take advantage of those extra places. Okay, Matchbook Zero long shot next. Reminder of Matchbook Zero live at 10 a.m. each day, and you're most likely to be getting best odds because there's zero margin, zero commission. Win bets only. Mine is Nadal Sheba Snow. I mean, that's not going to win, but it's a big price. 101.0. You never know. Charlie?
Soprano in the Sandringham.
Dees.
Thunder Blue in the Palace of Holyrood House.
My best bet is Opera Singer in that 345 Coronation. Yours, Charlie, is
Elite Status in the Commonwealth.
And DC.
Zainab to win place in the Sandringham.
My God, we've only gone and done it. Different races. Well done, team.
We're getting better at this.
It's amazing what you can do without Steve Jones. The 305, there's the Hardwick on day 5. We've got nothing in the Chesham, so we're leaving that. Day 5, the Hardwick, the 305. Charlie and I are both with the obvious one, I think, Continuous. Charlie, why?
Just because I think he's got the profile to be a top-class 4-year-old. You know, he was very good at 3. You know, he improved through the year. The year he ran well at the Royal Meeting. He then won the Voltager and the Ledger, and then a really good run in the Arc behind Ace Impact. It's really, really boring, really, really obvious. But you know, we're trying to tip up winners, and I think Continuous is very much the one that's going to win this.
I think he's pretty solid though. Like I didn't want to back anything against him. 3.0. You do, Dees.
I'm just going to go for the second favourite, Middle Earth. The main thing that's put me off Continuous, and it's just that he hasn't had a run yet. A lot of them are improving for the run, and I think Middle Earth really needs good firm ground. I think he's at his best on it. So that was kind of what led me into it. He's won already this season. He has trained on. I think he can give him a good race, and I wouldn't put anyone off the reverse forecast, the two of them as well, because I think they're probably a bit ahead of everything else in the race.
Cue Desert Hero going and bolting up back at the Royal Meeting.
Yeah.
What price we got? Middle Earth is about what 4.0. 3.0 for Continuous. The Queen Elizabeth II Jubilee Stakes. Dees, you very tempted by the Wizard of Eye. Second start for Charlie, fellas. You've gone with that horse and another one.
Yeah. So my notes here was that the Wizard of Eye will be into the handicap. He was highly tried in good races as a 2-year-old. If you go back through his form, he ran in some he ran at the top level, and he ended up in handicaps. It was way too high in the handicap. He's been gelded, switched trainers, had a nice break, came back and won very well at Ascot. I think that was on trials day as well. And he was in the Victoria Cup. I don't like this is they had other options for him, and they're throwing him in here. I thought he looked really good. They booked Ryan Moore as well. So I think that's an odd in itself. And again, he's a decent price, although he is short. You know, he was 10.0 this morning. He's probably clipped in a small bit. And the other one is Micheál. Kind of had him on my mind for this for a long time. He's changed trainers this year, and he's kind of growing into his racing. He's had 3 runs. Won the last day at the Curragh, beating Regional, who didn't do that for him any harm the other day. Again, he's about 10.0 as well. So I'll have the two of them, I think, win place.
You often get on the straight course horses, handicappers stepping up and running really well on the straight course in Group 1 company. We saw it with the second in the opening race, the Queen Anne. 340. Believing for me, that's the one. Believing, who I thought she might go over 5, but anyway, they're sticking to 6, or they're going back over 6. She ran well a few days ago. I think she's equally adept over 5 and 6. It's just she needs the ideal setup to suit. She should get that here, and I thought that Haydock just worked out absolutely ideally because she got a strong pace to chase. She's a little bit sort of priced up on account of that performance a few days ago, I think, but I thought it was a solid run. And George Bowie is in absolutely flying form. He's sending out about 30% at the moment coming into this meeting. So she'll do for me. Charlie?
Swing Along, Wynnum Place. I think she was sort of 17.0, and I looked yesterday. I think she's bigger than that now. You know, she was a really good 2-year-old. She ran a number of really good races at 3, 3rd in the Commonwealth Cup, 4th in the Haydock Sprint Cup, 4th in the Champion Sprint Stakes at Ascot. You know, she returned this year. She was slightly underwhelming behind Millstream in the Duke of York, but she's a big horse. I just think maybe she needed that run, and I think she's still, well, she is high caliber. We saw that last year, and I thought 21.0 was too big. So yeah, win and place for me with her.
Okay, some agreement in the jersey next to 425 between Deasy and I, and actually Charlie's with Hartem, newly acquisitioned by Wathnan Racing. They're all running well this week. So we're looking at 2.87 versus 4.0. Deasy and I with River Tiber, obviously won at the meeting last year. He just didn't quite get home in the Guineas, did he, Deasy? But there again, maybe he'll take a step forward for the run. But I would have him, like, he's rated £2 inferior to Hartem. Hartem with the penalty, I would much rather back River Tiber.
I think he's probably one of the bets of the meeting, to be honest. I think it's another one they've just found a nice race for him. He could easily have gone back to 6, but I think he should probably go off odds on for this. I think he's real top class. He was nat material last year. Won the Coventry. I think he's just really good. Probably not a miler. Could easily drop back to 6, but I think he's going to be like Expert Eye was the horse I was thinking of there a couple of years ago. That was like just wasn't good enough for the mile, and picked up this race very easily. Went on to have a fairly good career after, and I'd say River Tiber is very similar. You
are with Hartem with the penalty, Charlie?
Yeah, I am. I mean, look, the penalty is a concern, but like he is a high class horse. You know, his runs in the English and Irish Guineas were excellent. The former Brasalian, again, was done no harm in the St. James Palace. And I just thought the setup of this was ideal. The stiff 7 furlongs, they can be super aggressive with him. And yes, River Tiber is another one that brings comparable form levels through the Irish Guineas and all of that. But this horse just rock solid. You could argue there's a concern that he's been very busy already this year, but he was incredibly busy as a 2-year-old. And he just, to me, is the sort of horse that Christ anyone would want to own. He's high class, he's tough as hell, and he always pitches up and gives his running. And yeah, this straight 7 I think will suit him ideally because they can be really, really aggressive with him.
Okay, that's Hartem and River Tiber going up. The Wokingham, Decent Eye with Orazio, who ran well in the race last year off £2 higher. He's got a big field handicap over 6 in him, I'm convinced. I don't know if he's drawn well. I'm not. We're going to need more evidence over the next couple of days. But I think it's been fair and where the pace is. But yeah, off the back of last year, 17.0 D. So I'm very happy to support this horse. He's got to be there or thereabouts. Yeah,
he was 4.5 favourite for this last year. So I mean, you're getting a fair bit of juice in the price, and he's had a little break. He was out early. Didn't run well there at Newmarket. I think they just gave him more time. And this will obviously have been a target for a while. And look, he's just a very lucky horse. He keeps going off favour for big races and doesn't get home, which is a bit of a concern. But again, it's a price thing as well. And he's almost guaranteed to run well here. So 17.0 is a nice price.
Charlie.
Yeah, I've gone with the one drawn next to your selection, Harry 3, Clive Cox. Again, brilliant trainer of Sprintswood, which is brilliant trainer, full stop. Ryan Moore booked as well, which sort of piqued my interest even more. He was a group class sprinter in 2022. You know, ran well in some Group 1s, and didn't see him until Salisbury at the end of last month. And I thought he ran fine. It looked to me as a run that was getting him primed for something. He was beat just over 3 lengths in a listed race. I thought he was relatively sort of sympathetically handled. And he was rated 110 at his peak in 2022. He's off 104 here. Yeah, I thought he was really interested at 17.0 winning place in what is undoubtedly ultra competitive.
Yeah, as are the last couple. Certainly the next, the Golden Gate Stakes. Nothing for me. I haven't looked at the last 2 races. That's it. So why would I put a horse up? Charlie, first of all, you both agree. 4.0 shot. Charlie.
Yeah, I mean, again, very shrewd connections in the Charltons, and I just thought, this horse, was I'm not saying glaringly obvious, but well, decent, kind of. You know, he had a couple of runs. He won his last start as a 2-year-old. He jumped forward again, won on handicap debut at Sandown off 88 in I think it was in April, and I presume he's been left off then because he was only put up 3 because it was a narrow victory for all that he showed an excellent attitude, and I thought he won handy enough. He's a son of Churchill. You'd think the step up in trip will really suit. and surely there's a heap more to come, like I say, over this mile and a quarter and progressing with racing on only his 5th start.
Dees?
He won the same handicap at Sandown that Atty Purse won before I went on to win at Ascot for Roger Charlton. So that was all. That's my notes. Basically, I know he was going to be teed up for something at Ascot. Here he is. I know he's not priced, but I think he's a solid bet.
Okay, and in the last, it turns out Dees didn't look at either of them either. He just copied Charlie.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first, Dees. You agree, Postilio?
Look, this is a pure dart, but I'm sure that my workings will be the same as Charlie. Look, he was a high class horse for, I think it was Roger Ver, and he was Darren McToon's owned him. He's been bought by Paul Byrne, Vint Emmett Mullins. They must be up to something. Here he is. He's ran fine this year. They gave him a go behind Kyprios the last day. Big step up and trip, but look, this is wide open. I'd rather be on him now than some of the two at the top. Dawn Rising is up a few pounds. Run for Oscar. You wouldn't know what he's going to do. I don't know much about Queenstown. Shusha won't run, and his big price is the rest. So,
oh, Charlie.
Yeah, I mean, look, as in the connections speak for themselves. He had 2 goes over hurdles. It didn't look that promising, but again, you'd never quite know. I thought the run behind Kyprios was fine, and I just thought the most interesting thing was his step up the 2 mile 5 on the flat. As in he looks like, obviously by Galileo, he looks like his staying is his game. And I thought at 7.0 again, there was a bit of juice in that price. In a race where plenty of them can't, in this race where plenty of them can't win, I thought he was glaringly obvious.
Okay, my Matchbook Zero long shot for Saturday is Believing in the Queen Elizabeth II Jubilee Stakes. Matchbook Zero, you should be getting best odds because it's an exchange and there's zero margin, zero commission on those Matchbook Zero prices. 10 a.m. each day for a win bet. Check it out. Charlie, your long shot?
Well, it couldn't last, could it? Because I definitely put mine up first and it's swing along in the same race.
No comment. I know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, and I refute those claims, quite frankly. Fuck's sake. Dees!
bit of Orazio in the Wokingham, my long shot.
All right, we've nailed the best bets though, so that's good. River Tiber 425 for me, Charlie.
Continuous in the King Edward the Hardwick, sorry. Yeah.
And I'm going to go for Hand of God. I'm going to go for Hand of God in the Golden Gate Stakes.
Good. We did it. There we are. Happy Royal Ascot, everyone. Have a fabulous last few days, and good luck Thursday as well if you're watching this before racing. It's been good so far, and hope you enjoy the remainder of the meeting. Charlie, Deasy, thank you, and thanks everyone at home for tuning in. Bye-bye.